hadn't have any idea where Humboldt State was.
Yep.
So there is a lot of talent in the area that can play at this level of football, and the Wolves continuing a tradition of bringing those guys in, and those guys, continuing a tradition of staying.
Yeah, they've certainly got some athletes as we get ready to kick off the second half. Here we go, Thomas Shamarud back in the end zone as the Wolves will kick off to the Titans to start the third quarter. It goes into the end zone.
And
it was close. Yeah, they rule. He got the forward progress, not even a full yard out of the end zone. A risky play there for the Titans.
So he does get out, but once again, and we saw it there at the end of the first half, how much of a disaster this can potentially be as you put the Wolves defense in a position where they've got to get it out of the end zone, not a lot of room back there to operate, and they will have to see if they can get it out. This is where Eli might come out big because they have had some success running the football with the big fella here.
Yeah, and that was Robert Brown, defensive back out of Union College. So there's one of those smaller schools. Now the Titans in trouble.
New York.
Yeah, I couldn't have guessed that.
We played him in college.
Good to
That's
know.
the only reason I know.
All right. So here we go. Wolves in business have the Titans pinned inside their own one. Quick outlet here from Durley to.
It's caught on the sideline over here for
Is that Bray?
Yep, it is. It's Bray. He catches that one for about 3 or 4 yards. So that'll get him out of the shadow just a little bit, give him a little bit of room to operate. But this is about where they were the last time, Mike, when Daniels was able to knife in there on that delayed blitz and take him down in, well, I guess not quite in the end zone, but very, very close.
Yeah, it was.
We'll see whether or not they run that delayed blitz again. You could run it the other way, of course. They are on the left hash mark this time, so we'll see what the Wolves defense looks to be.
Well, we'll see if they get Brian Prey involved more. He was a big part of that first quarter. Didn't really see him in the second as Durley this time looks right. And it's a first down for the Titans over to Willie Carter, who dropped one earlier but has since then made a couple nice catches for big first downs for Cedar Rapids as they are now at their own 12-yard line.
6 over there, not 9. It was not Prey, but they do get out of the shadow of their own goalpost just a little bit. So we'll see whether or not they can take advantage of this extra possession they get by deferring there to start the first half play. The Wolves, of course, did score on their first drive, so we'll see how this shakes out here as we head down the balance of this ballgame.
Durley in the shotgun, taking his time. Quick pass, and it's intercepted. Off the hands of Prey and into the hands of number 3, Norris Wren III. Just what the Wolves needed.
Absolutely, and Wren has gotten victimized a little bit on the outside. He was the defensive back on that side on the previous play, but a little bit of a break there. Not a bad pass by Durley as it just bounced up over the top, and those are the ones you hate as a quarterback because you did your part. You got the ball there and just bounced right off of his shoulder pads. It's what coaches will tell you if we got young kids out there watching. You got to catch it with your hands. Don't catch it with your pads because that's what happens. Bounces up over the top. Defensive back picks it off. Wolves are in business. 1st and 10 at the Titans 1.
Wren the third, right place at the right time. And look at this. Not Jeniser. It's Britt at quarterback for the Wolves in the shotgun. Keeps it. Misses one tackle, but is brought down for a short gain. Didn't even get a full yard. On the tackle, it was Jeremiah Price, 6'2", out of Oklahoma State University.
I think that's going to be one of the things to keep an eye on as this season goes along. It's because you've only got 21 guys active, if you're going to have 2 quarterbacks, and one of the advantages that a lot of teams like to have is take guys who went to college on football scholarships to play quarterback and ultimately get converted to wide receivers. See if they can find those guys so that you don't have to carry 2.
Britt looking for Walton. He is bottled up by Wright. Arias Wright on the defense.
And Walton looking for a flag there, and I think he may have a point as the defensive back going right through the wide receiver there trying to get to the football. He does have a right to the football, so as long as he doesn't get there early, he can go through. As we take a look at the replay here, a little bit of a wounded duck there going through. And you can see just pretty good coverage there by the DB.
One of those bang-bang plays. Now, do you see a lot of two-quarterback systems in the IFL?
It varies a lot. It's a coaching philosophy that generally they didn't when Chris was playing. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, as Britt looks back,
Britt looking end
zone,
and he's got his boy. Is that Jamel Johnson for the touchdown Wolves? This one coming from Britt at quarterback, and the Billings Wolves have a lead, 22-20, early in the third quarter.
And it really is a coaching philosophy. One of the reasons you didn't do it with Chris, one, he was extremely durable. He almost never got hurt. But they always had somebody else on the roster who, like I say, was one of those converted wide receivers guys that if you had to get through the balance of a ball game, you had somebody that had been in the system for a while, could at least step in and take some snaps. And if you've got a reasonable running game as the kick is up and
another one off the left post for Shamarad. No good. Could be pretty big because just a 2-point game now. Wolves leading 22-20. Now back to that two-quarterback philosophy. You see Britt come out towards the middle of the field, and in the first half we saw him just come in when they were inside the 5. So do you get a sense that Dixon is still trying to find his every down guy?
I think Dixon's kind of trying to find that. If you watch Britt play and you've watched Chris Dixon play, they're very similar in body type. They're not real big. Got a good arm, but not the greatest of arms necessarily, but they're shifty back there. They can do a lot of damage with their feet if they want to, and you saw that as Britt came out on the first play of that drive. He runs that over the left side. Now, it wasn't real successful on that particular play, but I think Chris sees a lot of himself in Britt. As I mentioned at the outset, Geneser a little bit more of a sort of pure pocket passer. He's got that big 6'3", 230-pound frame. That's fine, and that can be very effective. Obviously, that's what Cedar Rapids has elected to go with, and they've been very dynamic on the offensive side of the ball this season. So not that that's a bad way to go by any means, but in the indoor game, those smaller, shiftier guys that have a lot of success at the college level, the major college level, the NFL looks at them and says, well, you don't meet my prototype, so I'm not even going to talk to you. And I think Chris sees a lot of himself in those guys, and obviously there's no questioning his success at this level.
Well, you could see he's quick on his feet early in the first half, but he can throw it a little bit too. The touchdown there to Johnson. Wolves have the lead 22-20 and kicking off. And it's Demetrius McNeil. We saw plenty of him in the first half. Catches it short at the 10, and a pretty decent return as a little extracurricular activity, as we often see on kickoffs.
But I was a little bit surprised they didn't do that earlier, Mike, because they're using that squib kick, and typically the best chance you have to field that cleanly off the bounce is on the first bounce, because it's going to be the biggest bounce, and you're going to have a little bit more time. But the other half of that, if you screw that up and bat it down and end up having to fall on it, you fall on it at the 10. If you do that, he fielded that about the 8-yard line. As we're looking at the replay here, he goes down the left side of the field there. Whereas if you let it get all the way into the end zone and it rattles around a little bit, now you got real problems from the receiving team's point of view. So I'm a little bit surprised they haven't had that up guy field it before this point in the ballgame.
Well, the Titans have it in great position. 1st and 10 at the 19. Here's Durley, who pitches it out to Ely. Makes a couple guys miss, but then he is swarmed by 2 defenders for the Wolves. Looks like it was Courtney Daniels, and the other was...
And Daniels has been in on a lot of tackles. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast that he was their leading tackler last week, and that has kind of borne itself out today as well. As we'll take a look at the replay here. Also in on the tackle again, that defensive line doing a nice job staying at home as they pitch that one, actually a forward pass there, but 3-4 different defensive players out there for the Wolves as gang tackling. That's what every coach wants to see. A nice job there by the Wolves.
Yeah, they swarmed it, just what they needed. Now 2nd and 10. Durley looking end zone. Just a little outside into the crowd.
And unfortunately for the fans, no seats down there, so nobody gets that free football. That one will go back into the field of play. We'll have to check on the laundry here. A long time back there waiting for that play to develop, so I would keep an eye out for holding here. A lot of times, especially at that point on the field, with a slow developing play, they're going to get the offensive line for holding.
Number 5. Contact within the 5-yard belt. Penalty results, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Contact within the 5 yards, so that will give the
Oh, and that's an automatic first down.
Only gives them 5 yards, but it gives them a fresh set. So rather than being 3rd down and long, all of a sudden now it's 1st and 10 inside the 15. So
yeah, that is a big play.
Big mistake there, and that he was the guy in on the coverage, as I mentioned, a slow developing play. And that's kind of a catch-22. I mean, you want your defensive backs to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage, jam guys there, try and hold them up and disrupt the timing. But if they do get off the line just a little bit, you do run the risk of that 5-yard penalty.
So here it is, 1st and 10. They go back to Ely on the inside, and he gets a gain of 5 down to the 10-yard line of the Wolves. It'll be 2nd, and about 6. We'll call it a gain of 4.
So down into that area of the field once again where Ely down there doing his damage. And it's been a while since we've seen a whole lot from him, simply because Titans were stuck on 20 for a good portion in the first half there. And the Wolves do a nice job as they got down inside the 5 there with about 5 minutes to go, bottling them up. And I would expect to continue to see that. If he continues to get 4 yards a pop, they're going to keep giving him the rock.
That's the thing. I mean, in the first half, he had 6 touches for 40 yards, 6.5 a carry. Like you said, no reason to stop giving it to him, as we have a flag before the snap. Looks to be on the offense.
Delay a game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
So delay a game, break for the Wolves there. It'll go from 2nd down and 6 to 2nd down and 11. So I guess, you wanted it to be 3rd and long about the 15-yard line, Mike. You may get your wish.
Yeah, just about. They get those 5 yards back after the defensive penalty. Now the Titans have it 2nd and 11 from the 15. You get the sense watching them on offense that they think this is a pretty crucial drive. Still a lot of time to go, but Coach was in the quarterback's ear for a while there, Durley.
Well, and you got to figure they really haven't stopped the Wolves very much in this ballgame. They did get the stop at the end of the half, but you figure, the Wolves only got the ball with 14 seconds to go. So, yes, you stopped them, but
here's Durley. He had a guy.
Another drop ball, so that's 2.
And that was Carter again, who had a drop in the first half. Looked like he may have had his bell rung a little bit there from big number 5, Chris Hemphill, 6'5" defensive back.
And he was the guy who was beaten on the touchdown that was thrown out of bounds earlier. He is a much bigger defensive back, and you can only play with one linebacker. As you can see him come through there and absolutely lay the wood to Parker there coming through. And I don't know if you remember when Brian Bosworth came into the league wearing 44 out of Oklahoma, the Seahawks threatened to do that, to list him as a defensive back because he wanted to wear 44. And you can hear in the background,
here we go.
3rd down at the Den is going to be loud.
Big play here. Durley looking end zone. Nothing doing. Prey looking for the flag, but he will not get it, as again it was Hemphill on the coverage, a 6'5" defensive back out of the University of Washington. He's also got some NFL experience, played for the Buffalo Bills, and now we have him here in Billings. 6'5" defensive back. You do not see that often.
He was not a defensive back at Washington.
I would guess not, yeah.
And you can see, you can understand a little bit why Prey is complaining. But the fact is, once that ball's in the air, he does have a right to go get it. He is looking back at the football. So a nice play there by Hemphill. And you're right, 6'5", a big advantage in that backfield.
About a 30-yard field goal attempt here. And it is no good. Tough to see again, like you mentioned earlier, Dave, from our angle. Went a little left, though. We saw, I could see Wolves general manager Mark Burr right away signaling no good. As the score remains the same, quite an impressive effort there for the Wolves. They get a help with the penalty, but really they didn't give up much.
No, they didn't, and that's one of those things. You're going to give up a little bit in the way of yardage, and on a short field, we watched the replay here, wide to the left, and someplace Scott Norwood is cringing. And but that's the nature of the beast, and you need to, when you get the opportunities, to get stops. So when you get in that position, you get down inside the 10-yard line, the field tightens up a little bit, then you get the penalty on the offense for delay game, backs them up just a little bit. Okay, well now you got them in 3rd and long, they make a nice play in the end zone, and then you can force the long field goal. The stops in some ways are what are key. Obviously at the end of the ball game you win if you have more points, but those stops really are the key to winning and losing ball games in the indoor game. And we've seen it already. We've talked about it a couple of times. Special teams. Missed field goals both ways, mixed extra points both ways. We had a 2-point ball game. 2 missed extra points by the Wolves. This could be a 4-point ball game. Even if they make a field goal at the end, you still win by 1. So.
And as we see, it's Durakatulib Britt back out at quarterback for Chris Dixon's Billings Wolves. I've been saying Britt most of the day because Durakatulib is tough to pronounce.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I looked at that and I saw there were entirely too many letters in his first name and 5 in his second and figured that Britt worked for me.
We'll go with Britt, number 1, quarterback, Billings Wolves. Back in. Have we seen Geneser at all in this second half? I
don't believe so, no. And that's, I mean, that's what Chris did in the scrimmage, that he knew he wanted to kind of take a look at both guys. Geneser clearly outplayed the other quarterback in the scrimmage, for whatever that's worth. They put up 56 in the first half, so his numbers were going to look good. There was really no way around that. And for the most part, Chris kind of stuck with his plan that he was going to go first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and then see who was hot in the fourth quarter. Well, going into the fourth quarter, I think they were up 72-0 or something like that. So, not necessarily exactly what the coaching staff was hoping for in terms of getting a good, honest look at guys as far as, what guys can actually do. But, I think Chris, no, he's absolutely not settled, dead set on anybody for the balance of the season.
Oh, the snap is fumbled and into the end zone.
I don't think there's going to be much question about this. You're going to have a tie ball game.
And that is a safety. First play of the drive, Britt fumbles the snap. Titans tackle him in the end zone, and we have a tie ball game at 22-all. How common is a 22-22 game?
Not more common than you might think, only because of the struggles on special teams a lot of times. But yeah, no, certainly a little bit of an odd number and an odd way to get there. But nevertheless, that is where we are with 6:14 to go here in the third quarter, and that's one of the disadvantages, Mike, of swapping out quarterbacks. That it's an old adage in the outdoor game: if you got 2 good quarterbacks, you don't have 1 good one. And both quarterbacks have played well at times today, so I don't know that it really holds true entirely. But that center quarterback exchange can cause you problems, and especially deep in your own end like this, where it's first and goal or first and 10 on the 5-yard line. If a mistake gets made, there's not a lot of wiggle room back there, and that's what happened there. It just scored through the wickets and into the end zone. Britt, really not a whole lot he could do about that. I don't know if it went off his hand or it was a bad snap or what the story was, but the bottom line is it gets into the end zone, the defense is coming. You got to get on top of it, because if you don't, it's going to be 6 instead of 2.
And now the Titans get the ball, too, so really a very unfortunate series of events for the Wolves as they now kick it off, and they will send their defense back out, who just spent a good portion of this early part of the third quarter on the field. Hopefully they were able to get a couple cups of water, as they are going to be needed with this game tied at 22. Another squib. Ely lets it go. Bit of a bobble on the recovery, and how about the open field tackle from 21, Omar Cook, as he brings down Carl Sims, who was running east-west, and he needed to be going north-south. So just like that, the Wolves have the Titans pinned at the 1-yard line.
Seems like this is what it's been for the last several times. This is where the Titans start every drive, is inside their own 2-yard line. As you can see Sims bobbling the football down there inside. And you can see why he took off there, Mike. You can see on the replay, not a lot of room to operate there, but you're right. A great open field tackle, and all those red jerseys on that side of the field. If he turns the corner, there was some room down that right sideline. Nice job there of making the play.
Now, how much does that have to do with Shamarud's kick, or is it just the roll? I mean, is he putting it in a certain place, or?
Well, it's some of both, as Ellie goes right up the middle once again.
Yeah, Ely those are tough yards, but he gets them.
It's some of both. I mean, what he's doing is he's kicking it, and across the turf, it's going to kind of skip. It's not going to bounce the way it does in the outdoor game, because the grass, this isn't going to grab the football the same way that the grass does, and so it does skip a little bit. And he is keeping it nice and low, and he's trying to kind of keep it away from the guys who were returning the kick there, as we see.
Back to Ely.
Ely go right up the middle.
Look at that. It breaks 2 tackles. And it takes a few guys to bring him down. This guy's a tough runner, and really a big reason that the Titans are tied right now.
Oh, he's a tank back there, no question about it.
So here we go. Second and a short, 3 yards. Durley with the pump fake. He had his guy. Looked like that may have ricocheted off the wall. but it's ruled incomplete. Now, can you play the ball off the wall?
No, if it hits the wall, it's incomplete.
Okay.
And Sims was bottled up pretty good in the middle and was screaming about a flag, but I think he's forgetting that in the indoor game there's only 4 officials out there. There's going to be a few more things that might slip by, and if you're quite a ways away from the play, they may be holding you all day long, but they're not throwing you the football. It may not matter.
All right, here we go. The crowd getting into it. A 3rd down and about 3 yards for the Titans as they come out in the shotgun with Durley. He had a man. Another miss, a little high.
And that's what I was talking about. Sims was crying about not getting the football the last time. They tried to go to him there. He tried to climb the ladder and go up and get it. He wasn't able to do it. So now 4th down, not real long, but probably well outside of field goal range. So once again, a huge play for this red and black defense.
Yeah, Sims certainly had a chance to bring that one down and make it a big 1st down, but instead, well, this is just what the Wolves wanted. A pinned back in their own territory, 4th down for the Cedar Rapids Titans. One they will obviously really want to convert here, or else this place might erupt.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times, and you're probably going to hear it in the background once again. As 3rd down, 4th down, these Billings fans remembering what it's like, and we got a penalty on the play. That's going to be somebody leaving early. This is going to fall harmlessly to the turf. I don't know where he was throwing that, but there is laundry, so we're going to have to see. If this is on the Wolves, I think it is going to be enough.
Oh, yeah, it'll be a 1st down.
But it was before the snap of the football.
Let's see.
Now here's where that rule about the linebacker leaving early may matter, because if Daniels moves forward before the snap of the football, that's going to be illegal motion on the defense.
Illegal defense. Defense number 19. Lined up in the belt. It's a 5-yard penalty. Results in a 1st down.
Hey, you're pretty good at this.
And that's what it was. So unfortunately on 4th and 4, a 5-yard penalty does give you the 1st down. And boy, Daniels has played very, very well thus far this season and tonight, but a big, big, big mental error there as he moves forward just a hair early, but just a hair is enough. If you're going forward at the snap of the football, that's the right call, unfortunately, for Wolves fans.
Yeah, that's about the last thing you wanted if you're the Wolves. A penalty to give them a 1st down. Didn't even have to run a play. So now they have it 1st and 10, still in their own territory, though, at the 13, but a fresh set of downs. Looks like we got a new ball handler here. Have we called this guy yet? Ooh. Yep, and that's going to be a personal foul against Daniels.
Well, the ball popped out for a second there, but yeah, the extracurriculars.
That was Zach Brown on the carry, but Daniels must have been talking a little bit. He kind of wiped him off there.
After the play,
like
unsportsmanlike conduct, number 19 of the defense. 15-yard penalty be added to the end of the play. That's his 1st unsportsmanlike conduct foul. Results automatic 1st down.
So back-to-back penalties for number 19, who was playing so great on defense, and he still is playing great, but those last 2 probably outweigh the good tackles he's made thus far.
Well, these Wolves fans not liking that particular call, as both players were maybe talking a little bit more than was necessary on that play, and they do end up throwing the flag. Certainly could have thrown the offsetting penalties. Still would have been a nice gain on the play. Game would have been a gain of about 7, but as it is, moves it all the way down to the Wolves 15.
Titans in business here, thanks to 2 crucial penalties. See what they draw up here. They go the handoff again to 28. Zach Brown. Not much on that gain, though, and it was Daniels on the tackle. No penalty there, just a clean tackle and just a gain of 1.
He did jump up and look down, and I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, oh, brother.
Be
a little bit careful.
Yeah.
You're already on the radar of the zebras down there.
Yeah, and those kind of plays are going to happen. There's going to be jarring. There's going to be pushing. It's just you got to pick the right time. You don't do it in front of the officials.
Yeah, and you can kind of see. You can see him talking just a little bit. Generally, the talking, they're going to let go a little bit. But as soon as you start pushing or pulling, that's where you're going to get the laundry coming out.
So here we go, 2nd and a long 9 for the Titans. They go back to Brown. He brings 1 defender with him. Looks like he got about 5 yards on that play, down to the 9-yard line of the Wolves. It'll be 3rd down.
They got to get to the 5 here, but the last time the Wolves were down here, they were able to kind of buck up a little bit and shut them down and force the field goal that the Titans ultimately missed. So we'll see whether or not they're able to do that again here. But once again, this Wolves defense, and I guarantee this is one of those things Dixon wants to stay out of, is he does not want his defense out there for extended periods, especially in the second half of play.
They have been out here for quite a long time in this third quarter. It'll all prove worthwhile if they can get a stop here. Durley looking end zone. Oh, he had his guy Sims again. Just can't quite corral it. Looked like it was a pretty good ball location.
Well, and that's kind of where you want it from the quarterback standpoint, because you've got that big 6'5" defensive back there in Chris Empel, and so you can't really throw a jump ball there because Sims only comes in about 5'8" or 5'9". Odds are 6'5" is going to beat 5'9" most of the time, so you have to throw it away from him. Downside of that is you run him right into the boards there. He did get 2 hands on it, and there have been a number of times that we've seen tonight where these Titan receivers, the quarterback's done his part. You just got to bring the ball in.
And Rockne Belmonte on the field goal, and it is good this time around. Nearly the same spot where he missed it. So the Titans pick up 3 as we get close to the end of the third quarter with 13.3 seconds to play. It's the Titans 25, the Billings Wolves 22. .3 to go here in the third quarter. Inaugural game at home for the Billings Wolves. They're currently trailing 25-22 to the Cedar Rapids Titans, who just got a field goal to break a 22-all tie, and will now kick off to the Wolves, who really didn't have the ball for much of the third quarter.
No,
Dave.
they really didn't, and we'll see whether or not they're able to put some points up here in the fourth quarter, but get the ball carried down in the end zone.
So that's Theron Allen Jr., and he is
a wicked shot there,
stuffed.
hitting across the 10. 9.8 to go here in the third quarter, so probably 1, maybe 2 more plays if you can get a quick hitter. Don't know that you necessarily want to burn a timeout at this point in the ball game, especially a close ball game. But I think that's the other thing that you can take out of this is the Wolves, I think, are just going to let this run out. The clock stops as soon as the ball is spotted.
All right, so that marks the end of the third quarter. 15 more minutes to go, and it is anybody's game. The Titans lead the Wolves 25-22. Right after this, the start of the fourth quarter.
The one frisbee that is closest to the center, you'll card. So, let those frisbees fly. That one was close for a second. Here we got one coming in. I feel like I'm gonna get hit. Feel like I'm going to get hit. We got some close. There's one. We have one. We have two. Let those frisbees fly. This one's coming in. Oh, just missed. I can't believe I haven't been hit by a frisbee yet. That one was close. Good times. We have three in the center so far. Keep throwing those frisbees. This one's rolling. Very close. Any more frisbees out there? Keep them coming, everyone. See a final few frisbees. Remember, American Cancer Society, relay for life. And that's it. We have three winners. We have one closest. Number 154. We're going to tell you who wasn't there. Well, 154.
Getting ready for the start of the fourth here at the Rimrock Auto Arena. We want to remind you, you can get all your latest overnight breaking news and up-to-the-minute weather each weekday morning, 5 to 7 a.m. with Wake Up Montana, Larry Rice and Becky Hillier. Again, Wake Up Montana, it is a great way to start your day on Color 8. So back to the game. We've got 15 minutes to play, a 3-point spread. I guess for the IFL, a relatively low scoring affair. Would you agree, Dave?
Yeah, it has been, and obviously, at some level, keep in mind, the Wolves did leave some points on the field there at the end of the first half as they drive down. They've gotten a couple of stops deep in their own end. So, it's been a little bit different than some IFL games. On the other hand, we talked about it at the top. Early on in the season, the defense a lot of times a little bit ahead of the offense.
Well, we'll see if the offense under Daraka Talib Britt once again out there for the fourth quarter, number one at quarterback. See what they can do here. First play of the fourth. Quick pass out. Looked like Johnson tried to play it off of the wall.
Yeah, they did rule it incomplete out there right out of the gate. Britt not throwing quite as tight a spiral as Jennifer was earlier, but they go empty backfield on that one. Obviously, Chris, trying to get some space out there. You do take away the possibility of, if he's back there blocking, your linebacker comes in to cover him and then shoves off him and goes after your quarterback. So with the young quarterback back there, not a whole lot of experience, trying to throw some of those short passes, build his confidence just a little bit, especially after that safety.
All right, 2nd and 10. They'll want some yards here from the 11. Britt escaping some pressure. Oh, took what appeared to be a late hit there. Now, once he touches the wall after that hit,
he's live.
Still live.
He's live. No, unless they force you out of bounds, unless they force you into the wall. So when he's running like that, they're going to let him continue to play. Now, that said, that may be a place where his inexperience comes in just a little bit, because he can bounce off that wall and run it up the sideline as well. And on a play like that, where the wide receivers have largely run the defense out of the play, there's some room over there once you turn the corner. If you watch here, the defensive end fell down, so you can kind of see out there now whether or not he can get past 93. But as you watch this go down the field, first defender's about 8 or 10 yards downfield if he turns the corner there.
And that was Jeremiah Price coming after him, but like you said, didn't have to just throw that away. He could have used the legs. Looks like the Wolves.
Delay of game. Offense.
Took too
5
long
yard
there.
penalty.
Delay of game.
Repeat.
Well, one of the
Third
things
down.
you'll notice if you look around the stadium, there are shot clocks in this stadium at either end, but they're not on. And so that's another thing that, for young quarterbacks especially, you talk a lot about, the clock you have to have in your head as a quarterback. Now, normally you're talking about the clock you have to have in your head after the ball is snapped and how quickly the defense is going to get there. But when there aren't when there aren't clocks at either end, play clocks, that's another thing you got to keep in mind.
Well, this is a big one. 3rd and 15. Britt gets it out.
And Allen pulls it in, but took a nasty shot.
Yeah,
there.
D.A. Allen caught it and was immediately drilled. On the defense, it's Lowry. Let's take another look at this one. Still a positive gain for the Wolves, but they've got some work. It looks like a 4th and 9 upcoming.
And a better ball there from Britt as he just rifles that one out to the outside, taking what the defense is going to give him. Obviously, on 4th and forever, they're going to give you quite a bit, or 3rd and forever, rather, and now 4th and very long for the Wolves as well. So huge play here in this ball game with the Titans clinging to a 3-point lead.
Britt with all kinds of time, and he's going deep for Gordon. Just overthrew him.
And he had him.
He did have him.
That's a tough throw. You're throwing it back across your body into the far corner of the end zone there, but Gordon had about a step and a half on his man, and this is the real disadvantage of that play. I understand the call because you've got one-on-one coverage on the outside. If Gordon can get past his man and you get a well-thrown ball, you've probably got a pretty easy 6 points here as we take a look at this again. Britt just airs this one out down the field, and you'll see there is some separation there between Gordon and the defender, but the defender behind him need to throw that one a little bit underneath. Maybe you don't get 6, but you pick up the first down and flip the field.
Watching Coach Dixon react to that, just the way he walked down the sideline, you could sense it. He may have been thinking, man, I could have made that throw.
Well, he's made an awful lot of them over the years, and I'm sure there is a part of that most of the time with Chris.
So now the Titans in great shape, already in the Wolves' territory, and a run again with Ely. I'd imagine he gets a steady dose here in the fourth quarter. Gain of about 4.5 or so.
As long as he keeps picking up yardage like that, and they've got the lead, I don't think there's much question about it. Now, that said, they can pick up a first down here, but not much more. So you're down inside the 10-yard line, where both teams, frankly, have struggled at times this afternoon. The field gets a little bit smaller, and there's not as much room to operate here. As we'll take a look at Ely again as he cuts through the middle of the line of scrimmage there, and the Wolves do a nice job converging on him, taking him to the turf. Second down, about 7 or 8.
This time with the pass. Durley threw it at the feet of Willie Carter.
I love how defensive backs do that. You get a poorly thrown ball and it bounces off the receiver's feet, and they get up like they made a great play.
Yeah, like that's lockdown defense right there. Not so much. A little bit of help there from the quarterback, Durley.
Still, it brings up third down and long, so another big play. It feels like we've been saying this most of the afternoon, Mike. Another big play for this Wolves defense. As you can get a stop here, boy, decision time, big time for the Titans with a 3-point lead. If you kick the field goal and you convert, forces a touchdown to beat you.
Here we go, Durley. Look at end zone. He had Sims. He just noticed him maybe a little too late.
And that's one where the gentleman that got hit in the head with the footballs that went into the end zone probably should get to keep that one, but I don't think he's the young man that came up with it. So
hey, he threw it right back.
A souvenir for one young fan. Oh, did he? No, it's back. He had the orange ticket with him.
Oh, there he goes.
Yeah. But that's not the one that he's not the one that got hit in the head. So I guess they're going to go ahead and kick it. Now, here's the thing with this, Mike. That's fine, and it means a field goal doesn't tie the ball game, send it to overtime. On the other hand, it probably takes the decision away from Coach Dixon at some level, depending on when they get down and if they score, because I guarantee you at home he's not playing for the tie. Mm-hmm. So he's not likely to kick a field goal and then bank on another one to tie it. If he gets a chance, he's going to go for the win and go for 7.
All right, so Belmonte makes it a 6-point game. The Cedar Rapids Titans ahead of the Billings Wolves, 28-22. A big 10 minutes coming up right after this. $9:51 to go here at the Rimrock Auto Arena. We are approaching crunch time with the Wolves set to receive the kick. Looks like they had them lined up on the wrong side of the field.
Well,
so
they were in the kickoffs most of the third quarter there because they had missed field goals and interceptions and that kind of thing. So they forgot that you're supposed to switch at the end of quarter number 4, or at the end of quarter number 3 rather, going to the fourth quarter. So they will flip the field here quite literally, not a long play to do it, but the referee's taking care of that. A big drive here for the Wolves. 9:51, probably not realistic that you can run the clock out here and punch it in for the touchdown, although, certainly from the Wolves' point of view, if they could get the lead and get their defense a little bit of time on the sideline to kind of regroup, they'd probably be happy with that.
Here comes Theron Allen on the return. Made one guy miss, but he is brought down about the 17-yard line.
Pretty good field position for the Wolves, as both teams have spent a lot of time drives starting inside the opponent's 10-yard line. So a good job there by the Cedar Rapids defense, but not bad field position for the Wolves either, as you see Allen bring it out.
Yeah, it could certainly be a lot worse. And at quarterback, it will be Britt once again. It makes one wonder if something is up with Geneser or if he's just giving Britt his chance in this second half.
Well, we'll see. I mean, what Dixon has said all along is until he settles on his guy, he's going to kind of try and ride the hot hand. 22 points up on the scoreboard. They both had their moments today, but nobody really has jumped out.
Britt looking down to D.A. Allen. Makes a couple miss, but ends up being swarmed.
Yeah, but there's going to be 15 on the end of this, I believe.
Yeah, there's a flag on the opposite end of the field.
Britt was hit after the play, I think is going to be the call. So they're going to call this, I believe, roughing the passer, which will be 15 yards on the end of the play.
And that would be
foul, roughing the passer, defense number 56. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. Automatic first down.
15 yards in the IFL is pretty big.
That's a huge penalty. No, that's absolutely right, especially at this point in the ballgame. You can see he just came free on the outside, got a free shot at the quarterback, and frankly just took it. The ball was long gone, and he had an opportunity to just put his face mask right in the middle of that number 1, and he took the opportunity. Unfortunately for him, there were 2 referees standing right there, and the flag came out, moves the ball even further down the field for the Wolves, and it'll be 1st and 10 inside the 15.
Attack on 15 yards on the first play, and suddenly the Wolves are in striking distance, again with Brick in the shotgun.
Makes you feel a lot more comfortable as a quarterback.
I'd imagine. And there he goes. He'll take off.
See, and that's the dynamic that I think Chris sees in Britt, that he's not as comfortable with Geneser. That they did run the first play of the game with Geneser, and he certainly is a good enough athlete to be able to do that at times, but not quite as capable of making guys miss as Britt seems to be. And I think that's what Chris is looking at. He's maybe seeing a little bit more potential upside. Geneser may be a little better, a little bit more polished right now, but he understands that someplace down the road, I'm not here to win ball games. I'm here to win championships. I want to develop this quarterback, and I want him to be really good. As you see Britt here, as he goes right up the middle on this one. He wants him to be good in May and June. Yeah,
I don't know if Coach Dixon likes him running towards Price here, number 56, who has been all over the place at defensive end today. Probably wants him to run away from that guy.
And there was a little bit of a hole there to the right side of that. And, clearly a play that's designed to go right up the gut there and see what you can get in the middle.
Second and a long 9. Britt looking end zone, and he's got Johnson. Touchdown, Wolves. We are tied at 28.
And you can kind of see there, Britt drops back to pass. It opens up just a little bit. We'll look at the replay here after the extra point attempt. But the Red Sea just kind of opened up there at the line of scrimmage. That's where a guy like Britt is potentially going to struggle, is that he's not the tallest guy in the world, so he has a hard time necessarily seeing over the offensive line. Nevertheless, that's something that's not going to bother Chris. Chris always used to joke with me when he was back in his playing days that, there were a couple times a year where we play somebody who was listed under 6 foot, and he always wanted me to make sure that I told him he wasn't the shortest quarterback in the building.
So no kick. Instead, they keep the offense out. Britt looking for Gordon, but he had pressure. So they gamble there. Do you like the call?
I'm a little bit. I don't know about that. With the opportunity, as we see the touchdown here, right over the middle, just one-on-one coverage on the outside, rifles it in there. Johnson goes up and makes a play for his quarterback.
Nice throw from Britt. Yeah.
I don't know if I do, only because obviously at this point in the season, I don't know how much faith Coach Dixon has in his kicking game. There've been some good and some bad today. But I guess I think at this point in the ballgame, I understand 8 minutes is a long time. So you're not figuring that this lead is going to hold up regardless of what you do there. At the same time, if you just trade points from here on out, if you go up one now, then trading points eventually leads to winning the ballgame rather than going to overtime. On the other hand, I guess there is the sort of rule of thumb that on the road you play for overtime, at home you play for the win, and maybe that's what Coach Dixon's thinking there.
Yeah, I wonder if he would do the same thing over again. As it stands, though, it's a tie ball game. Can you ask for more drama in their inaugural home game? This is exciting stuff. Tied at 28, 8 minutes to play. Still plenty of time. We'll see if that Wolves defense can come up with a clutch stop.
A Tribe Called Quest still making the only money they're making anymore as they're playing music in the background here. These Wolves fans, though, boy, they have been treated to a heck of a ball game already today, and good turnout here for a gorgeous Sunday afternoon. And boy, the Wolves certainly not disappointing. Obviously, I don't imagine there'd be a lot of fans that would complain too much if they were blowing them out of the building. But certainly in this one, and going to have a chance to win it down the stretch.
Oh, always fun to see a good game, and we have a fumble on the return. It's hard to see who jumped on it.
That doesn't have anything to do with who's going to come out of there with it.
Yeah, exactly. Still a scuffle for the ball. It looks like the Titans hold on to it.
So break there for the Titans is a nice job by that special teams from the Wolves coming in there and popping that ball loose. We'll take a look here. And the Titans really have struggled mightily at times for various reasons on special teams. Boy, that might have been not have been a fumble anyway.
He may have been down, yeah. Robert Brown on the return. He looked like he felt like he was down and kind of just threw the ball down.
The ground can cause a fumble in different ways than it can in the outdoor game at some level. But, yeah, it looked to me like his knee may have been down. Nevertheless, no replay in the IFL. So whatever the ruling on the field would have been the ruling that stood. They give it back to the Titans, and they'll have the ball 1st and 10 at the 16.5.
So they tack on a few extra yards on the return. First down from their own 17. Here's Durley looking. And he's got his man Willie Carter, who had a couple big drops earlier, but that's a big catch for a first down, and now into Wolves territory at the 22.
So 28-28 as we tick down under 7 minutes to go here. Real simple pass. That's just a little hook pattern. He just runs out on the outside, turns around and waits for the football. And nice job getting there. No yards after the catch from this Wolves defense, but if you're going to give up 11 or 12 on the initial catch, those yards after catch aren't nearly as big a deal.
All right, the fans trying to hype up the Wolves defense, and they force a fumble and recover it. And the play is live, and it's a touchdown for the Wolves defense. Are you kidding me?
Now the white hat's saying he was down.
Oh, man.
I was trying to figure out how you could have come out of that pile because he was lying on the ground when he kind of rolled out of there and picked it up.
Norris Wren III comes up with the ball. A fumble, an unlikely fumble from Washawn Ely, who's been doing it all for the Titans today. It's a turnover. Wren III ran with it, and the referees were following him like the play was live.
Now wait a minute. I think maybe you're going to say that he was down. No, okay, they're going to say that it is Wolves football.
Oh, Coach Dixon
for a minute there, I
now.
thought they were going to say that that he was down and it was Titans football, and Coach Dixon's head was about to explode over here on the sideline as he was absolutely apoplectic over there.
But the Wolves get just what they needed, a turnover and the ball at midfield. Actually, even better, they're in Titans territory at their 24-yard line. What a crazy series of events.
Look at this here. Not sure who caused the fumble. It popped out.
And once he's touched there, he's down.
He's down, yeah. He's down right there.
Gets up and runs with it.
Down. I mean, it's a smart play from his point of view anyway, because he must not have heard the whistle. With all the bodies in there, that's certainly understandable. So you play to the whistle. He runs it into the end zone, and he had 3 of the officials on his side. Unfortunately, the lead official was not.
Well, that would have been a crazy play. Either way, Wolves have it, and Britt back out at quarterback. Down to D.A. Allen, who gets inside the Titans 20, down to the 19. Gain of 5. At this point, chipping away, 5-yard gain, you will take it.
And now you are starting to get to that point in the ball game. You know, the clock continues to run. And, you know, first downs do not stop the clock. There really is no out of bounds. So it will stop on the change of possession, but we're inside of 5 minutes to go. You do start to think about that clock. It's not a factor at this point from either team's point of view as far as whether or not you have enough time to move down the field. But you do start to think about it a little bit in play calling here inside of 5 minutes.
Back to work. Britt keeps it himself right up the middle.
And that's what he gives you that Jennifer doesn't.
A huge gain for the Wolves, first down, and Britt took a little hit there, put his shoulder down, coming up huge at quarterback, giving the Wolves a first down nearly at the Titans' 10-yard line in between the 11 and 10.
Wasn't as bad a hit as it would have been if the referee had gotten out of the way, however, as he ducked right in there, and referee had to jump out of the way. A nice shot there, enough for first down yardage, and down inside of 4 minutes now. So the Wolves actually can get one more first down. Obviously, if you can get in the end zone, you take it. No question about that. I got to think at this point in the ball game, you kick the extra point, and you do wonder whether or not Coach Dixon would like that extra point back, because you'd have the lead. Now if you can get the touchdown and convert the extra point, worst case scenario, if they go down and score with a 2-point conversion, they still can't beat you.
Right.
All they can do is send it to overtime. Nevertheless, first things first, timeout on the field, 3:46 to go, and the Wolves and the Titans all knotted up at 28.
Yeah, nearly a delay of game penalty it looked like there, and Dixon got the timeout, and they did throw the flag, but the other official gave him the timeout. So yeah, crucial point here. I mean, what do you think Chris is telling the guys right now?
Well, I think what he's probably telling them is, first of all, you know how to do this. You've been here, you haven't necessarily been here in this league at this level, but you've all been in tight ball games at some point in your football career. It's still 10 yards for a first down. You still get 4 downs, and there's plenty of time on the clock. Don't start thinking about it yet. It doesn't matter. We've still got 2 timeouts left. The clock is not a factor at this point in the ball game. I'll tell you what to run. You execute. You do your job. You beat your man one-on-one, and we can get out of here with a W.
Well, let's see what they draw up on 1st and 10 from the Titans' 11-yard line.
Empty backfield. I would look for Johnson on the outside or Walton across the middle. Those big bodies against those smaller DBs.
Oh, and Britt goes inside handoff to Gordon, who gets past the 10 and a few yards more, down to the Titans' 6-yard line. So they try and fool him a little bit, and it pays off with 4 yards.
Well, and I think that's where, this may be something where Chris is playing the clock a little bit. That I think he may figure, because I can't tell you how many times he hit Walton in the back of the end zone over the course of their time together, but it was dozens. And it's an indefensible play, as you see Gordon go across the left side there and pick up about 4 yards. If he's picking up 3 and 4 yards, he knows he's going to have options here as the clock gets inside that 90 seconds. He can pound it in, or he can go to one of those big bodies in the back of the end zone.
So here we go, 2nd and 6. Britt wanted to keep it, goes left, then back right, and Britt taken into the wall. It looked like about the 2-yard line. Plenty of physicality on that play. The Wolves will have it 3rd down and at the 2-yard line. An athletic play there from Britt.
Well, this is almost perfect for the Wolves, because they can almost certainly pick it up on 4th down if they want to. They only need, we'll see exactly where they spot this, but I think they need about 2 lengths of the football, something in that neighborhood, to pick up the first down. So you got to figure, all right, I can get it on 4th down if I want to.
Oh, and they're going quick back to the line. Yeah, about 2 or 3 football lengths away from a first down. About 5 footballs away from a touchdown.
Oh, it's going to be more than that now, though.
Now it will be.
The offensive line jumps.
False start. Offense number 79.
79.
5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
That is Jared Hernandez, 6'5", 330. Biggest guy on the team out of Nichols State.
Move that kind of beef, and they're gonna see it most of the time.
Yeah, and that wasn't a subtle move by any means.
No, he knew where that play was going, and he knew he needed to block down on his guy, and he was trying to get a little bit of a jump start on that. Interesting call there. You got to think if he's blocking down like that, the call probably was to run Britt off the left side of the formation. Running him out of the shotgun, you start 4 or 5 yards deep in the backfield as Gordon will be in the backfield now with 3 wide receivers to the left.
All right, Britt looking end zone. He was looking for Jamel Johnson, but a great defensive play there from the defensive back. That number looks like a 7. He's far away from us. Dimitrius McNeil. Yeah, we have called his name a few times
kick
today.
Returns, yeah, he's had a nice day in the kick return. At some level, I suppose, from a defensive back standpoint, the less we call your name, the happier you probably are, because most of the time we're not calling it for good stuff up here in the booth.
So now
1:24 to go here, and they are going to kick the field goal.
Here comes Shamarad, excuse me.
It's not a great snap.
But he gets it to go.
It is good.
The Wolves take a 31-28 lead with just a minute 12 on the clock as Shamarud gets it to go. He missed a couple extra points earlier, but that one really crucial as the Wolves have regained the lead. Plenty of time, though, minute 12, and I'm sure Chris is thinking that.
There's a lot of time left, no question about that, but a field goal doesn't beat you. And so that's the big thing to remember here is that they got to get into the end zone. Now, the downside of that is exactly the same thing, obviously, as we look at the replay. Kick is up, and it's going to sneak just inside that left upright. Boy, that wasn't good by much, but it doesn't need to be. As it sneaks in there, 31-28, the lead for the Wolves now. But that's the downside, is that from Cedar Rapids' point of view, well, okay, but, do I want to play for the tie if I get down there and I get into a 4th down situation? Now, obviously, I would expect to see the Wolves try and do that squib kick once again. They'll probably try and kick it away from the returner. If you look at the way that Cedar Rapids has been setting up all night long, they've basically been trying to funnel the football to one side of the field or the other, and then they got 2 guys back. So we'll see whether or not that ends up being kind of the way they set up again. The one thing the Wolves have not done all day is just go ahead and kick it away.
Right.
And that is an option. I mean, if you think that Chamarod's got the leg to get it over the back of the boards back there, you could do that. Just go ahead and boot it away and see whether or not you can keep it out of the hands of that returner and force him to go the length of the field.
Let's see what they do. They stick with the squib, this time to the left side of the field. And the return from 16, Robert Brown, who did make one guy miss, but then got bottled up.
And good coverage there. So inside the 15, they'll have to go about 41 or 42 yards. We will tick down to the 1 minute mark here in the ball game. So we'll get the timeout on the field. Wolves up by 3, a minute to go. And these Wolves fans are having the time of their lives. They've waited 5 years for this, Michael.
It has been
They're
a long
glad to have it back.
time coming. Yeah, and you can sense the excitement. We have 60 seconds remaining. The Billings Wolves holding a 31-28 lead, looking for their first win in the history of the team. We'll see if they can get it done right here on SWX. I don't even know what I did with that sheet, man. Here it is. Well, earlier we mentioned Wake Up Montana. Don't forget you can get all your news, sports, and weather with the Color 8 News 5, 6, and 10 on weeknights. Color 8 Local News brings you live reports, breaking news as it happens each weeknight. Greg Lamott and Stella Daskalakis on the anchor desk. Of course, yours truly, along with Chris Byers, with all your sports coverage, as we are excited to be covering the Billings Wolves and this first home game, a good one, Dave. 31-28, a minute to go. Titans with the ball, Wolves with the lead. And he had his man
into
there.
The stand. He did. And the pressure was coming, not super close just yet, but this Wolves defensive line has done a nice job getting after the quarterback as he has dropped back there. Eli has been effective today when they've tried, but with a minute to go, and even with all their timeouts, you kind of got to put the ball in the air.
Yeah, Sam Durley has been well at times today, but he's also missed some guys, and that he had an opportunity for a big gain there, doesn't get it. So it's 2nd and 10 from the 14-yard line. The fans are on their feet. The defense pumping them up. See if they can have another big play. Durley across the middle. Oh, nearly tipped and caught by Sims.
And that is a late flag.
And
he looked to me like he did grab him a little bit off the line of scrimmage, might have been beyond 5 yards. But when the ball actually arrived, I think that was pretty good coverage. So we'll have to see what the Zebras actually call here. They're going to call the hold or pass interference.
Interference.
So
Defense,
after 5
number
yards,
3.
you can't touch.
Penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. Results, automatic first down.
In this particular case, it's not a huge deal. It would have been an automatic first down anyway, so it's a difference of 4 or 5 yards there, really, at the end of the day. But within 5 yards, you can play bump and run, and if you touch him after that 5 yards before the ball's in the air, you can make a play on the ball. And it looked that's why I was wondering which they were going to call there, because it looked to me like he might have hung on a little bit past the 5-yard barrier there. But once he let it go, it looked to me like he did a pretty good job at timing his jump on that one.
That was Norris Wren Jr. on the coverage. So here it is, 1st and 10 from the 23. They go inside with Ely. Oh, this guy is a tough runner. Makes a few Wolves miss, but we do have a flag on the field.
We're going to have to check on that. That spot on the field, again, it's behind the play, and it came in from behind the line of scrimmage. So
you think hold, right?
Typically, that's what it's going to be. Yep, that is what it's going to be.
Holding. Offense, number 96. 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. Repeat
That's
first
on
down.
the offensive center.
So you have the penalty on Wren, the 3rd on defense. Then the Titans give them 10 yards back with the offensive holding.
But here's the thing to keep in mind about that. That's a spot of the foul penalty as far as the pass interference. It would have been 5 yards if it was holding. Or if it would have been holding on the defense. Holding is 10 yards from the spot of the foul, and the clock starts as soon as the ball is spotted. So Cedar Rapids has got to get this off, and it moves them back 10 yards from the spot of the foul. So now we got first down and very long, but all of a sudden down in distance, becoming almost irrelevant for the Titans.
And the seconds just ticking off. 20 seconds to play. Titans need a big play. Wolves need an even bigger one on defense. Durley looking deep. And the Wolves swarm it on defense. The big play there from 31, who conveniently is not on our roster. A big play there on defense. You got him on yours, Dave?
That's Michael Green, yeah.
Michael Green, I actually had a chance to meet him. I haven't got to meet all the players, but I met him at practice last week. He's a guy who didn't even play football all of last year, and now he's back playing professional football, and a huge play there in the end zone. 11.9 to go.
If you're gonna have your name called once on the course of the afternoon, he made a good choice.
That's the play to do it, yeah.
So 2nd down and very long. Probably have time for 2 plays as long as the first one stops the clock. I believe they do have 1 timeout remaining.
And there it is.
They better have 2 remaining then, because boy, at that spot in the ball game, I don't think you cannot take your last time out with 11.9 to go. I think under those
It looks like they
circumstances,
do.
they should have two. I think I can only remember one other time they've taken one this half.
Yeah, I think they do have at least one other.
Well, they're not going to have time to use more than one more.
Right, and at this point, it's second and very long, but I don't think the down and distance really matters at this point.
No, I mean, that's the thing, is at this point, if you've got one more timeout, maybe you take a shot over the middle and, down around the 15 or 20-yard line, see if you can set yourself up in position. The other thing to keep in mind, I don't know how much faith they've got in their field goal kicker. Similar to the Wolves, there have been some good, there's been some bad today, so, who knows. But you don't need a touchdown here. You need a touchdown to win, but a field goal would tie it and send it to overtime. So, you may be thinking that way, that, well, the Wolves will probably give you something underneath. Do you try and get down to about the 15 or 20-yard line? Figure, all right, yeah, I know it's a long field goal, but it's a tough league to win on the road. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and then you at least give yourself an opportunity. If you go into the middle, you can take the timeout, you can look your guys in the eyes, and you can decide as a coaching staff, are we going to take our shot to send this thing to overtime and hope we can win it on the road in overtime, or are we going to say, all right, here's the deal, we got one play, boys, get it done.
Let's see what they draw up as the fans again on their feet. They have been treated to quite a first home game for the Billings Wolves. 11.9 to go, and here's the snap. Durley, time to throw, heaves it up, and it's too high. Looking for Sims once again. Boy, they have just been inches away from a couple big connections today, but they can't get it to go there. So now 6.5 seconds. What do? Do you run a play and try to call timeout? It looks like they're bringing out their kicker.
Boy, this is a prayer and a smile as we look at this one going deep down the field, and you can see the height difference between Hemphill and Sims. And I was looking on the program to see exactly where Sims is listed and how tall they have him listed.
They have him at 6 feet, so a 5-inch difference.
So he's giving up a 5-inch height difference and about 30 pounds. And they clearly think they have an advantage there, and I can understand that. Like I say, Hemphill was not a defensive back in college.
Here's the game.
It's got the distance.
Wow. What
it
a
is good.
Kick. What a kick from Rockne Belmonte. How far was that? 38, 40-yard
about
kick?
40, 45 yards.
And he puts it in the uprights as time expires. We have a tie ball game, and thus we have extra football.
We'll take a look at it as this one's kicked from right about the 10-yard line. So, yeah, we've got
right down the middle.
43-yard field goal, and that would have been good from about another 10 or 12 yards back. No question it had the distance from the get-go. It's those narrow goalposts and the aim that typically is what can give you fits. So all of a sudden the air out of this building just a little bit, and we'll have to see exactly how this sorts out as far as overtime is concerned. It's not something that happens very often in the IFL, frankly, because you just have so many points scored. It's so easy to do. Because you can score from anywhere on the field, that you just don't get very many overtime games. But
well, now it's been a while since we've had any games here in Billings, so explain exactly how overtime works.
I believe that they play sudden death, but I'm actually, to be honest with you, I'm not positive about that. They put 15 minutes up on the clock. They just took 15 minutes back off the clock. But I believe that's the way it works, that it's basically NFL rules. And I think both teams do get a possession. But at the end of 15 minutes, then it would go into the books as a tie, if that was ultimately the way that this shook out. You mentioned something a few minutes ago, and I think it is a good point, that the Wolves, we got 31 points up on the scoreboard. They've given up a couple of touchdowns here today, but they've not given up any in a very long time. They were all in the first half, and that remained true throughout the balance of that second half, that obviously a field goal at the end does send it to over.